Hi, and welcome to CryptoBiography. I'm your host, Brandon Starr. This is episode 377 of CryptoBiography, and it's The Warning. And this is another short story in the Situational Awareness world. Here we go. He woke up, his massive bedroom seemingly the same as always. It was still dark out, and so everything was either a window or deep shadow. He wasn't sure what had woken him. He slept alone, as always, the women he'd had sex with having been sent home after their time together. He didn't trust anyone to be in a room with him while he was sleeping. And so, though he wasn't sure, he was wondering if someone was there in the dark in his room. He slouched a bit closer to the side of his bed, where a button was placed on the underside of the bedside table. A single press would unlock the interior bedroom doors, raise an alarm, and bring his bodyguards running. But there was nothing happening. He thought about turning on the light. That would surely allay his fear that someone was in the room, but he also knew that at his age, that would mean the end of sleep for him for the night. Ever since his early 50s, any serious interruption in his sleep, particularly light, meant no more rest that night. And that was over a decade ago. So he didn't turn it on. Not yet. Instead, he hissed a whisper out at the room. "Is anyone there?" The room's silence was reassuring. He settled back towards the middle of the huge bed, where he preferred to sleep. That's when a voice did call out to him from the dark, hissing a whisper, which nevertheless he could tell was a woman's voice. "Yes, I'm here. Don't move." He froze. He had no idea who it was. It couldn't be the vapid women he had elsewhere in his house for his pleasure. No, this is something different. "What do you want? Money?" "A challenge." He swallowed. "What kind of challenge?" "In 1 year from today, I will kill you." He felt a stone somewhere in his stomach. "Why?" "Surely someone who makes his money your way can guess." "Fine. So you win if you kill me, and if I kill you?" "That won't happen." "Then where's the challenge?" "That's up to you. You have the resources. Run. Hide. Shore up your defenses. I'll see you in 1 year. There was a bit of movement, barely perceptible in the dark. A silent shot, quieter than a normal pistol, but shockingly loud in the mostly empty room, spat out from the darkness. The lamp beside him shattered. He realized that, without even thinking, he'd been slowly moving towards the lamp and towards the panic button. The shot made him lunge forward, and he pawed the side of the bedside table. Though the lamp was destroyed, some emergency lights went on. At the same time, another shot rang out. He saw a figure in black leaping out the broken window. Though he was on the 3rd floor, his guards did not see anyone, and the security cameras recorded only a few frames, which included a vague human figure. Some of them had been sabotaged. He had the best picture analyst go over the frames, but nothing identifying the intruder could be found, and so the game was on. He sold that house and moved between his other houses regularly, while quickly having a new house purchased secretly through a shell company. No one would know it was his. He never saw the woman again, despite his eyes playing tricks on him a few times. As the weeks, then months, wore on, he finally got back to living his life, though with more care than he had taken before the incident. It was as the year anniversary was approaching that he started to get nervous again. He made plans to travel all over and made sure they were known, while his real plans were hidden. He made so many plans that 10 of him couldn't have actually done all that flying. He was in a cottage in the mountains of Switzerland when the night came. He had no less than 40 guards around and on his property. His plans were all ready to stay up all night. He didn't know if he would be in the clear at midnight or some other time, but until the day was well and truly past him, he was going to stay on his guard. The curtains were drawn. No snipers were going to get him. And he stayed up as planned, reading the reports from his various oil fields and planning his next business moves. He went to the bathroom, took a piss, then turned to wash his hands. On the mirror, in giant white letters, was the word, "Gotcha." Fear galloped down his spine and to the tips of his fingers and toes. He ran from the room, grabbing his go bag, and called his head of security. Inside of 3 minutes, he was running to his helicopter with his head of security Stan beside him and 3 other guards. They made sure no one approached the copter while he got on with Stan and the pilot. Inside another minute, they were in the air. It was a large, luxurious helicopter, and no one could see inside. He'd be safe from sniper fire. Of course, the copter itself could be brought down, say, with a guided missile. But he had paid well for protection against that sort of thing, which had culminated in the climax of security that was this night. Still, he had a nagging fear. He got up and opened the door that led to the cockpit. "Any dangers out there?" "None, sir," his pilot said. "Good. Keep a close watch. Someone got through my security." "Yes, sir." He closed the door and turned to his head of security. "Stan?" But that was the only word he got out. Stan was dead, his throat slit, blood pouring down his front. The billionaire looked around, horrified. He did not see anyone at first. Then he saw her, all in black, in the corner. She had a gun pointed at him. "Thank you. You made it interesting." "How?" "Years of practice." She raised her hand. She had some kind of small box in it. She pressed a button. Behind him, he heard his pilot scream briefly, then go silent. "What did you do?" "Killed your pilot. Amazing what can be done by remote control these days. I'd say you have less than a minute before this helicopter spins out of control, leading to a fatal crash. I would say goodbye, but I'm glad you're dying." She opened the side door and leapt out into the night. He could barely make out a thin pack on her back, which must have contained a parachute. He wasn't done yet. There was a parachute under the seat, and he'd practiced it as part of his preparations. The helicopter was sliding to one side alarmingly, so he groped over to his seat, took out the chute, and slung it on his back. Inside of 10 more seconds, it was secure. He charged over to the door, which was still not latched fully, and popped it open. Then he, too, leaped out into the night. He pulled the cord after just 1 second, knowing that he'd be clear of the helicopter by then, but not knowing for sure how long he had. He did so, but it came loose, and no chute appeared above him. Sabotage, he thought, and his stomach tightened. There was a backup chute, but he knew that, too, would be sabotaged. He almost didn't want to give her the satisfaction of pulling that backup cord. But survival won out only after another second. It, too, came free, with no chute appearing above him. He plummeted to his death and wondered who it was who had taken something he'd done so very personally. She watched him fall. Whatever her motive, she wasn't going to shout it to him as he died. Let him rot. It was all he deserved. And that's the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed it. I've been enjoying writing these little vignettes set in the same universe. If you have any comments or questions about this episode or previous episodes, cryptobiography@gmail.com, or hit us up on Facebook, Mastodon, or X. And if you have and thanks for listening. Words and music copyright 2024, Brandon Starr, all rights reserved. Characters and events are fictional, fictionalized, or satirical.